With Five Nights at Freddy's 2 officially in theaters, the conversation around it has been kinda wild. You've got some people absolutely loving it, and then other people saying it's one of the worst horror movies of the year. Then you have some fans stuck in the middle, thinking they showed up to an Avengers movie rather than a horror movie with possessed robots. And to be fair, I don't blame them. It's not something you can just label as good or bad, because on one hand it has a lot of what would make a good FNaF movie, and on the other hand it makes choices that would send the film critic straight to the ER. You've got moments that feel straight out of the game sitting next to decisions that barely hold the movie together. Where the friction between a great FNaF movie and a good movie is the paradox FNaF2 sits in, and what it chooses to prioritize, what to sacrifice, and for who it's ultimately for. For context, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is based off its namesake, as it follows Vanessa dealing with the trauma of being the daughter of a serial killer, and Mike trying to keep his younger sister Abby safe despite her obsession with animatronics. Where an early 2000s paranormal crew and Michael Afton poke around at old Freddy's, reawakening the marionette and getting bodied, as the marionette, rather than getting payback on her killer, seeks vengeance against all the people who let her die, manipulating Abby and Vanessa with the usage of the toy animatronics to get her revenge during Fast Fest, causing our favorite security guard to once more face off against the animatronics. On paper, it sounds exactly like what you would expect from a sequel, as it amps up the ante, expands upon the world and characters, and dives deeper into the lore and chaos caused by the Afton family. And when the movie leans into that, it actually works pretty well, because to me, this feels more like FNaF. And while you can take that as a good or bad thing, and the first movie is definitely better written, it also feels safe and very surface level. While this one feels more akin to the games and is willing to take more of a risk, especially when this is a step up in the horror and cinematography department. And as long as you ignore the script's cliche dialogue and leaps in logic, it's actually pretty entertaining. Until the ending. Because as much as I appreciate the effort put into this, the ending is, dog shit. As the movie drops off the cliff the second Mike steps into the old Freddy Fazbear's location to ask for help, when the movie enters fanfiction levels of writing as it rushes to the finale out of nowhere, as characters who are barely present suddenly matter a ton, with the ending mimicking the portal scene from Avengers Endgame with the animatronics showing up to throw hands, where character development and emotional payoff flies out the window so that the movie can end on a cliffhanger, where I'd make the argument that Michael Afton is one of the biggest problems in the movie. Now, game lore aside, his introduction at the start is decent. He's basically Dave Miller from the books, considering he's a sketchy security guard hanging around an old Freddy's establishment. Where in this, he lures in a paranormal crew so Charlie can be freed and have a body to possess. Why he waited 20 years to do this? Who knows? But it's a decent framework. The problem is that after that, he pretty much dips from the whole movie, as it shifts its focus entirely to the marionette, the toy animatronics, and the rest of the cast. Then in the finale, Michael just strolls into the living room like it's nothing, drops one of the weakest villain speeches imaginable while mewing, and then runs away. It's not like he's a twist villain or something. You know he's bad off the bat, so it's weird that the film treats this as some big reveal near the end. And because he's barely in the movie, it opens up a massive can of worms. Like his connection to Charlie, which is never really explained, nor is his ability to control the toy animatronics, considering the whole movie has shown that's the puppet's whole shtick, making him feel completely disconnected from the plot. The most you get is a scene between him and Vanessa that doesn't even feel earned, as he tries to manipulate her through her PTSD to rejoin the family business of killing people. But by this point, she's already faced her PTSD and doubts. Obviously, she's not gonna suddenly turn on Mike and Abby just because her brother said so. By keeping him mostly absent until the climax, it doesn't do anything except make him feel underwritten and underused. And that's the exact same problem it has with the OG animatronics, because the idea itself of them showing up to save Abby and destroying the toy animatronics isn't that bad. It's more so the issue of how it's executed and directed. There is no proper build-up or tension for this conclusion, and trust me, you need something more than just Mike saying "help me" and then them showing up 10 minutes later, because it winds up just making them feel like a plot device to get rid of the bad guys and to set up the sequel. Not to mention the fact they treat the kids passing on as some emotional and important events, but they haven't done the necessary work to make it impactful. The movie could have simply fixed this by having Gwen and Freddy show up when Mike goes to Freddy's asking for help, with Gwen and Freddy providing Mike with a dilemma that if they leave, then they can't keep tormenting Afton's spirits, forcing Mike to face the reality that he's on his own, while the animatronics are stuck between choosing to continue their vengeance on the person who killed them or to save their friend. so that when they do show up, it shows them making a sacrifice and emphasizing how meaningful Abby's relationship is to them, while also serving as a redemption arc of them letting go and moving on, which would mirror the journey of other characters throughout the film, rather than the way it is currently, with Golden Freddy showing up for 30 seconds just to dip and leave Mike with the responsibility that is Springtrap. And speaking of Mike, it doesn't help that him and the other human characters are also sloppily written, where his decisions go from reasonable to a lack of self-preservation or just overreacting. For example, Bro has no emergency when faced with 5 withering animatronics going towards him. Like, sure, you've been through this all before, but get off the computer, bro, and deal with the monsters. Or at least have the mask and a weapon on standby. Also, for Mike to tell Vanessa to shove off is a, interesting choice. Cause on paper, it makes sense. Cause yeah, she's been lying to him and that's the problem. If Afton has a murder family, who knows how far that goes or what else they've done. But when someone goes out of their way to say you're their family now and is clearly willing to die with you, you don't just abandon them like that when they're clearly distressed. Where you either lean into the conflict more and show repeated moments of her not telling the truth, causing Mike to distrust her and have a more justified reaction, or you save that kind of emotional moment for the midpoint and give audiences some hope before ripping it away. That way, Vanessa's possession feels tragic in a good way and not just another thing to set up the sequel, especially if her arc was shown more progressively throughout the movie so all these pieces could work together rather than ending halfway through. Where other puzzle pieces like Henry, William, and the other toy animatronics feel underutilized too. Like the Gooners on the internet got all the Toy Chica content they could want, while the other toy animatronics got a few lines of dialogue, which is sad considering they brought in FNaF veteran VA Kellen Goff and everyone's favorite theorist to voice the characters. I mean, I'm happy with what we got, but I can't help but wish we got more, which is less of a criticism and more of a preference. And while I could go on, rambling and complaining, I can't bring myself to outright say it's bad because none of these problems ruin the movie. It for sure hurts the ending, but I can't deny how entertaining a good chunk of the movie is. Especially the Freddy plush, that made me laugh. A+, give me more, the sequel's gonna be peak. I can't wait for Arson to finally be committed within this franchise. Anyways, if the movie gave itself more time to flesh out its ideas and concepts, I think the reception to it would be very different. Where this could have been something really special by delving deeper into themes of letting go of the past and moving forward towards redemption and a new beginning. The potential is there, it just needs the right molding to make it shine. And if you guys want, I'll make another rewrite covering FNaF 2 and how I think the movie could be improved upon. But that depends on your support, because there is so much room to expand upon this movie and give something that both fans and critics can be receptive to and appreciate. Now, at the end of the day, this all comes from a place of love. I've grown up with this series. I want what's best for it, because there are so many cool ideas and concepts here that just need the room to succeed. Because the truth is that while Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is beyond messy, there is still a charm to it that makes it entertaining. I mean, yes, there is a standard for movies, and a lot of people wouldn't let this slide, especially the ending. Heck, I think my ranting has made that pretty clear. But there's a foundation here for something better going forward, one which fans will be excited for and continue to love. If you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the kind of content I'm making. This is Balthazar, signing off.